Hi, my name's Jake from Holiday Extras Travel Guides, and here is our guide to Lanzarote.
Now, before we get cracking, here's some handy info for when you're planning your trip to the beautiful island of Lanzarote. Lanzarote is one of the Canary Islands, a part of Spain just off the coast of Africa. Even late in the year, the temperature rarely drops below the 20s, so it's great for a little bit of winter sun. It's nearly 3,000 kilometres away from the UK, so from the airport lounge to Lanzarote's main airport, you're looking at about 4 hours flight time. The airport was renamed in 2019 to celebrate the famous artist Cesar Manrique. His creativity left a huge legacy in Lanzarote, and you'll see his name everywhere. But we can talk more about that later. The island is actually quite small. It never takes much more than 40 minutes to drive anywhere. For this reason, we actually hired a car to get around the island. Public transport and excursion coaches are available if that's not your thing, but the car's definitely the most flexible and hassle-free option. Okay, so now you have the bare essentials about the island. Here is the main event, our top 9 things to do if you're visiting Lanzarote. Up first at number 1 is arguably the most famous of all, Timanfaya National Park. It's a huge protected reserve set in a volcanic mountain range, made up entirely of volcanic soil. Timanfaya is famous for looking like you're on another planet. Bubbly, cooled lava as far as the eye can see looks completely alien. The best way to see it all is to hop onto one of their coaches. It takes you all around the park's landscape and it's included in your ticket. The volcanic activity continues beneath your feet. In fact, you'll be shown that when you visit. Water is poured into small holes in the ground that go just 13 meters below, and even there it's so hot that the water boils instantly, resulting in very loud steam geysers. And they actually use this volcanic heat to grill the food in the restaurant El Diablo. Where else can you say you've had a lunch that's been cooked by a volcano? If you'd like to know more about El Diablo, you can check out our Where to Eat in Lanzarote video.
So as you can see from my beard, it's pretty windy. So I would recommend bringing at least a light jacket up here, even if you're coming in the height of the summer season, because it's going to get chillier.
Number 2, we've got the beautiful El Golfo. It's a small seaside village on the outskirts of Timanfaya National Park. The 2 big reasons people visit El Golfo are found just outside the village. Looking down from the cliffside pathway, you'll pass a beautiful black sand beach, which is lined with big volcanic rocks. The rocks act as a breakwater, and the tall, white waves crashing against them is really a sight to behold. Keep following the path, and you'll have a clear view of the famous El Lago Verde, or the Green Lake. It's teeming with volcanic minerals and microorganisms, and that's what gives it such a vivid green colour.
I don't know if it's the wind, or the black sand, or the crashing waves and the clouds, but everything's just so dramatic here at El Golfo, especially the giant green volcanic puddle. Crazy.
Number 3 is the stunning Jameos del Agua. This was the first tourist destination created by Lanzarote's famous Cesar Manrique, who we mentioned earlier. It's a cross-section of art, design and nature. It's got a little bit of everything. An auditorium, gardens, museum and even a fantastic restaurant. A staircase follows the slope of the lava tunnel down into a pool that is the home of the blind lobster, an endemic local species. Jameos del Agua's designer wanted to give visitors somewhere to contemplate a natural attraction, formed almost entirely without human intervention. Even gardens in the open-air section of the caves are designed with this in mind.
It feels more like a gallery than a garden. Do you know what I mean? The nature is just here to speak for itself. And I think for me that's really reflective of Cesar Manrique. He really liked to marry the nature and the art, and this is the perfect example. I mean, this tunnel, the lava tunnels, would still be here even if none of this man-made stuff was here, and they would still look just as fantastic. And I think the whole place really kind of speaks for itself.
Coming up at number 4 is the tranquil Teguise. A if you're looking for authenticity, look no further. Dating back to 1402, it's the oldest Spanish settlement in the whole of the Canaries, and was the capital of the island for 450 years, until Arrecife took the title in 1852.
So this main town of Teguise is known as La Villa. It's just referred to as La Villa. Teguise is the region, or Costa Teguise, the tourism-y place down by the beach. But this is a lot more quaint and local, and it's just got a lot more relaxed kind of feel to it.
It's the perfect place to enjoy slowing down, enjoying the peace, and getting a feel of the real Lanzarote. It's the perfect example of a quaint Spanish village, and a great place to have a coffee and to reflect on the history. And that history? It's quite colourful. In fact, to learn a little more about it, you need only head up the slope of the extinct volcano overlooking the town up to the fortress on its peak. Looking down at Teguise below, we've got number 5, Castillo Santa Barbara, which is the island's oldest castle. In fact, as one of the tallest peaks in the area, the castle watches over pretty much all of the eastern side of the island. The view is incredible, and the crater of the extinct volcano, Mount Guanape, reminds you just how volatile this island's geography once was. But the real surprise came from inside the castle. It's been given new life as a pirate museum. The position of the Canary Islands made them a popular supply stop for ships heading to and from the Americas, which in turn made it an attractive hunting ground for pirates for at least a few hundred years. The museum has a great layout for kids, plenty of in-depth information for adults, and even a replica ship interior. The museum leads you onto the roof of the castle, where you can see why it made such a great lookout for the village below.
Even if you just come to the castle for this stunning view over basically the whole island, I mean, we can see nearly everywhere we've been. There's Teguise down there, like, it's worth it. Because the pirate stuff is like really cool. I really loved it. Kids are gonna love it. But like, this view, man, this is like the cherry on the cake. But it is ridiculously windy. We've had to come to this like little turret lean-to just so that you can hear what I'm saying, because the wind bowls you over. You can feel it dragging your feet and pulling at your clothes. So if you are a family and you're bringing some young children here, you might want to keep a tight grip.
And here's another absolutely stunning view. Number 6 is the island's most famous viewpoint, Mirador del Río. Camouflaged with a coating of volcanic rock, this iconic landmark almost vanishes into the cliff face.
So, top marks if you can guess who designed this building. Of course it's Cesar Manrique. He basically designed the entire island. Guy's a genius. And you can see here his love of combining like art and nature, because the whole place is basically hidden in the rock face. From a distance you can barely even see it's there. And the view it gives you is fantastic. You can see out over here you've got La Graciosa, which is like, they call it the 8th Canary Island. And these two glass windows here, they're called the eyes of the Mirador, and they just give you a fantastic view out when you're sat in there enjoying a lovely coffee.
These two panoramic windows make up an entire side of the lookout, which is built in the remains of an ancient military base. But there's little to no evidence of it left. Cesar Manrique's style is everywhere, and the interior looks more like a lava bubble than it does a military bunker. When you're finished with a light lunch in the cafe, follow the staircases upwards past the gift shop and up to the rooftop terrace. If it's possible, the view is even better than the balcony below. From the terrace, you can look out in all directions and really soak in that sea air while you enjoy the views. For number 7, we're headed back into the quaint little towns with Punta Mujeres, which is a traditional fishing village. The name translates literally as Women's Point and refers to the women who would wait there for their husbands to return from their fishing voyages.
And when a village is not only by the coast, but also this pretty, and it has major tourist attractions, you'd think that it would feel more touristy, but it really doesn't. Like, it's got a really small village, local kind of authentic feel, and I really love that.
Punta Mujeres' biggest draw for tourists is the natural seawater bathing pools. Filled by the ocean and protected by huge breakwaters of naturally occurring rocks, Swim in these pools at the right time of day, and you'll get to experience the sea's waves smashing against the rocks to make huge plumes and sprays. You won't find any white sand on this coast. Punta Mujeres has a different beauty. We're nearly there. Number 8 was one of my surprise favourites, actually, of the whole island, Jardín de Cactus, also known as the Cactus Garden. It's just a 10-minute drive away from Punta Mujeres, and you'll know it when you see it because a large traditional windmill is the highest point in the garden and is visible from the road. Passing through the entrance is like passing into another world. It's shaped almost like a giant succulent bowl for some kind of, I don't know, even gianter coffee table, and has a truly fascinating collection of cacti, all kinds of shapes and sizes. It's incredible.
I think this is going to be one of my highlights of the trip. Like, it's just really, when you first come through that door and you see the bowl open in front of you full of all kinds of different cactuses, and it's like nice and calm and quiet, and you're away from the wind, and it's kind of weird, which I really like. It's gonna be one of my favorite places here, I think.
The Cactus Garden was Lanzarote's very last gift from Cesar Manrique. Which brings us to number 9, the Cesar Manrique Foundation. Shortly after Manrique died in 1992, his home was open to the public. Tourists and fans were able to experience where he lived, learn about the man, and learn how he literally shaped the land and history of the island. His vocal protests helped elevate him as a hero for Lanzarote. He's a core reason for why you won't see that many high-rise hotels on the island, and his influence forced the tourism industry to think more sustainably.
Coming to visit Cesar Manrique Foundation after seeing his name everywhere, like nearly all of the places we've been in this trip were designed, founded, created by Cesar Manrique. He's an iconic part of the island, basically the father of Lanzarote, and coming here was like finally getting to meet him. Do you know what I mean? Like, we got to walk around his house, we got to see like home videos, interviews, hear his voice and his viewpoints on life, and he was clearly a really great guy. And I'm almost sad we left it this long into the trip to find out who he was. But it was also a nice way to do it. I would highly recommend it. It's a really, really great place to visit.
And that's it. All of the best things to see and do in Lanzarote. If you're planning a trip there, then why not discover some great places to grab some food? Our video about some of the most interesting places to eat is a must-watch if you're planning a trip. We hope you like it.
Subscribe to our channel. We've got loads more travel guides in the bank and also loads more planned. I've been Jake, this has been Lanzarote, and I'll see you next time.